Here with UWL head football coach Mike Schmidt as we preview Saturday's game against the Stevens Point Pointers. Lacrosse comes into the game at 3-2, 1-1 in the conference, and the Pointers are 2-3 overall and also 1-1 in the conference. It's family weekend. Kickoff is start at 6 o'clock. Coach, first, before we talk about the Pointers, let's talk about last week's win. Up at Stout, 29-23 in overtime. You had 23-9 lead in the fourth quarter. Blue Devils came back. Then you got that big play in overtime. Rusty Murphy returns the fumble for a touchdown. Let's just talk about the Stout game last week.
Yeah, probably the craziest win I've ever been a part of. I mean, we literally went from almost a 100% chance to win the game to probably about a 0% chance to win the game when we had a 3rd and 32 from our own 8-yard line that we had to convert just to not let them get the ball back about midfield. So crazy swing in momentum in that fourth quarter, and really just proud of our guys, the way they hung through there, and not only that, but we're able to find a way to win in the most unconventional way imaginable. A strip sack on a 3rd down, and Rusty returns it in overtime. Crazy game. We have 2 walk-off wins now on the last play of a game that we've scored to win a game. Both times surrendering a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. So, do we like that part of it? No, but we just continue to find a way to win those kind of games right now. So, really just tough to, don't ever apologize for a WISC road victory is kind of how we looked at it.
Let's talk about that for a little bit, though. You had, like you said, 2 games where you won on a walkout where you were leading, but just talk about what it shows about your team.
Absolutely. I mean, you got such a young team, too, that to go through this stuff, and you saw that the other day. I mean, you saw that against Stout was a sense of we've been here before, we're okay, like this team's been through this, and to continue to draw on those moments, and it's really, those are great moments. But what I feel, we've addressed it big time with this team this week, what I almost feel bad about is the fact that half of this team hasn't won those games. Half of this team, those are both road victories for us. So we haven't won at home yet. And so half of our team has gone this far into the season and hasn't won a game, hasn't been on sideline for a game that we've won. And so, we've been trying to address some of those things with the team to make sure that it's hard. If you're one of those guys, it's hard to buy into what's happening here right now because you haven't experienced it. You haven't had that instant gratification with those wins, and getting the guys to understand that, I think, is big. The guys that were on the sidelines for those games, and then at the same time, telling those guys that weren't on the sidelines, we hear you. I understand you, where you're at. I get it. It's hard. It's hard to be all bought in because there's one group that's gotten 2 big parties and one group that hasn't gotten any. And it's like, as we talk to the guys, it's like a elementary school class. One group's gotten the pizza parties and one group hasn't gotten any pizza parties, and so we're trying to bring that thing together a little bit this week, and hopefully we can win one at home this week to have the whole group kind of experience it together.
That Stout win last week, you had Austin over 100 yards rushing, you had passing yards, and your defense 7 sacks, so you kind of got a great defense. A lot of turnovers last week,
yes,
both ways. But let's talk about your offense and your defense last week coming together.
Yeah, I thought it was so important for our offense to get on track early on, and we went right down and scored on the first drive. We won the toss, we took the ball, and we scored right away, and that really was pivotal for us. It was hard to maintain that, I think, through the first half. We had really dominated that half. We just didn't on the scoreboard. We had to settle for 2 long field goal tries that both were blocked. So we had both of those long field goal, those drives stall out, and we weren't able to convert those into points. And then, on the other side of the ball, we just found a way to get turnovers kind of throughout the whole time. But, our offense has to continue to give us extended drives. We kind of lived on big plays again, and we got to find a way to just continue to convert first downs. And we did at times. We converted a couple of 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, which we hadn't been able to do in the previous 2 games before that. So really happy with the way that group really worked. We just got to find some more consistency to finish those drives and those halves really with it. But yeah, defensively, we've been looking for turnovers. We were able to get 5 of them. We were looking for sacks. We were able to get 7 of them. So I think you look at what we've been trying to emphasize, what we've been trying to get to finally have that kind of come through was pretty good. And again, I'll keep saying this, we're so young. I mean, our D-line doesn't have a senior in the group. There's not one senior D-lineman that we have on our roster at all. We only have the 2 senior linebackers. We only have the 2 senior DBs right now. this group's going to continue to get better as the season goes on, and last Saturday was no exception.
We'll start with Stevens Point. You have 3 of the next 4 at home. Let's start at home. Like you said, you've had 2 ranked opponents here in Dickinson State and Whitewater.
Yep.
Let's talk about playing at home here. The next, not even just against the Pointers, but 3 of the next 4 are here.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird anomaly where we played back-to-back home games twice. I know that the first one we had a bye week in there, but back-to-back home games twice in the season is not usually how it's drawn up, I don't think. But we did start on the road twice, but it's nice to get back at home. It always is. You know, what's nice about being on the road is you don't have a lot of distractions. And it's actually nice to go sleep in a bed where there's a hotel and people got to go to sleep, and it's not Oktoberfest weekend and the whole city's partying 4 blocks away. There are a lot of distractions that come along with home games, I think, but it's great to be back for our fans. It's kind of ironic. We did a night game for this game, hoping to stay away from the Badgers-Michigan game. That game gets flexed. The Brewers make the NLCS. Whoops. Didn't see those things happening, but going to be great to have our recruits finally get on campus more now. Having these next 3 out of the next 4 get a ton of recruits coming on campus, which is great. Plus playing in front of our community, which we feel like this is our community and our place, and we love being back here. So we're excited about that, and I'm just really excited to hopefully win some games with the whole team on the sideline here now and get through that first win together.
UWL snapped a 3-game losing streak to the Pointers last year. You had a 35-13 victory over there. Points coming off a 9-3 win. All field goals up at Eau Claire last weekend. What do you expect here from the Pointers?
Yeah, they're playing their butts off on defense. Their staff's done an awesome job after getting hired just in July and putting it all together here. They're a team that's going to keep getting better as the year goes on as well. They played their hearts out last week against Eau Claire in a big win. They've won 2 of their last 3 games here now and seem to be having comfort in what they're doing, playing their butts off on defense. They play so hard on defense and then offensively they just had a bunch of injuries. They appear to be pretty beat up on offense a little bit and so that's probably held them back from finishing some of these drives, but. That's a good team that we're playing. They got a good young local kicker. We wish we could have gotten here. He's doing a great job. He was a special teams player of the week in the WIAC. So, hey, that's a good team. This is a good program that's feeling pretty good. They should be feeling pretty good about themselves. They're playing really well right now. So we know we got to play our best game. We definitely have to play our best game, but we know we got our hands full. Not like we've dominated this series. We dominated that game last year up there. We certainly haven't dominated the series here with this team the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So we understand what this thing's going to be. There's not one single game that's going to be that we can just show up, roll the ball, and win the game. We're going to have to play our best game, and they're going to be a good team.
Final question for you, Coach. Talk about maybe for fans out there, how does your game day change for a night game? So usually you're playing at 1 in the afternoon. Last week, Stout, you played at 2 because of their homecoming. But how does that change your team, your staff, in terms of playing at 6 o'clock at night?
Yep, it doesn't. Other than the fact that there's more time beforehand. We still are going to have our walkthrough before the game. We're going to have our pregame meal 4 hours before the game. We're going to have all of those things still will match up. In fact, our guys will probably like being able to sleep in and do their thing. I think a lot of it's being out in front of it these last couple days, trying to make sure they understand that they're going to have to get their body juiced up at 6 o'clock at night. Normally we're shutting down at 6 o'clock at night. They got to get themselves juiced up at 6 o'clock at night. That we had guys catching punts and catching balls out in the dark last night under the lights. So that's a difference for those guys. But our routine doesn't stop, and we are creatures of habit. But it kind of starts 4.5 hours before the game walkthrough, 4 hours meal, boom. Now we jump into our pregame routine with it. So it's more so about eliminating the distractions on the other end, and then understanding that you're going to have to be juiced up from 6 to 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday night. Now that won't be too hard for most of our guys to be pretty pumped up 6 to 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, but. It doesn't change the whole routine, but it's awesome for getting our recruits from extended distances to get here, which is great for the entire operation of our football staff.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.